welcome to another edition of No Plays Off Sports Talk. I am your fabulous host, yours truly, Miss Ballin D. We are here live in the flesh on this beautiful windy evening here in Las Vegas, episode 85. I'm excited. I'm feeling great. I got my better half of No Plays Off Sports Talk back in the building with me. He survived his big vacation. I'm so glad to see you, Kevin Ray. Good evening to you, brother. How you doing?
Ballin, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, I was a little jealous. I saw the photos, and I was in my feelings.
Well, I mean, you were supposed to go. Something suddenly came up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the plan don't always work, but we had so much fun.
I can't wait to hear all about it, man. I was talking to Thump right before we got on the air on my way here, and he said, Kevin Ray, he had a blast. I said, don't tell me. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth from Mr. Kevin Ray himself. So, Kev, of course, you went on this fantastic cruise to the Bahamas, man.
Yeah, we went to the Bahamas with Half Moon Cay.
Okay.
Stopped by there, put a twinkled our toes in some white sand.
All right.
That man-made sand, not that brown stuff they got out there.
Not that rocky stuff, huh? Real sand.
Not that stuff they got at Lake Mead. That's horrible.
No, that's rough.
Yeah. Then we jumped back on the boat, and the next day we pulled into Nassau.
Okay.
Had a party at Senor Frogs.
I heard.
Had a party.
I heard about that.
Thump DJ there. I took over the microphone.
Oh, you was in my seat. You was hosting.
Oh, I took it from.
How many shots in were you at that point?
Ballin. So to tell you the truth, okay, it was only one day that I didn't hit my 15 drinks.
Oh, you got the drink package.
Yeah, I got the drink package.
So you had to take down 15 drinks a day. You couldn't share, right? I hope you shared.
Well, you could share, but I didn't share it, right? I mean, you
was getting your money's worth.
If you getting on the boat, you should have had a package.
Okay, I hear you.
And so they make you say it's me and you in the cabinet.
Okay.
They make me buy it for you too.
Oh, so we both have to have it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's a lot of shots, Kevin, right?
That's 30. So yeah. So I'm only one day I didn't hit my 15, right?
Out of 4 days.
But that's because I didn't know when we got off the ship. So I learned the next day we was gonna get off. I started drinking while Kim was upstairs getting ready. I go down and have a drink.
Oh man.
Right.
Okay.
So I can, make it.
All right.
But I went in there. I was like, well, let me check and see. It's like 2 a.m. Me and Marlon out smoking cigars.
You were still going.
We were smoking cigars. Finishing up our, telling up on our drinks. Right.
I got you.
Kim had 11 drinks to go.
Oh, so she had to catch up. She
couldn't catch up. It was the last day. It was 2 a.m.
Wow. So were you on the fruity drinks? Because if you had 11 fruity drinks, you was on the real stuff.
No, you can't. Well, I tell you this. The drinks at 6 a.m. was the fruity drinks.
Okay. Yeah. Later on in the day,
right.
though.
I was drinking Gentleman Jack all while I was on there. Cigars.
Okay, grown man drinks.
Yeah. The stuff that grow hair on your chest. Yeah, the little hair around your breast.
That part. Yeah. So all in all, this was your first vacation in a very long time. Your very first cruise.
Very first cruise.
Would you go back on another one?
I'm thinking about September.
Already. Yeah. I told you before you left here, you would be hooked once you experienced your first cruise. You would be hooked, and you're kind of proving that point.
Well, I think they asked me would I be really willing and ready to go again next May for the 4th annual.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, they haven't worked out all the details yet, so it's coming.
Right.
Most definitely doing that one.
But September, that's like right around the corner, Kev.
Yeah, it's a few months out.
So did your wife enjoy it? Because, of course, this was her first time actually experiencing a cruise as well. Did she enjoy the entire cruise experience?
So, they have you go up to this thing called the Lido deck.
Yes.
And they have these games, right?
Right.
And so they asked the two people up there, Marlon was one of them.
Okay.
You bring me back a bald-headed man and a grandma.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so, I run up there. Marlon, they called him over to the table. He went and got somebody else. So, okay, I'm cool. I'm going to help him out, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to help him out, right? The other person grabbed Kim as the grandma.
Ooh.
Wow. Now, Marlon said, I thought about it, but Kim ain't a grandma to me. But Kim is a grandma 7 times over.
In real life.
And so they had
but they don't know that. They
don't know
that. Right.
No. So they asked her, and she's like, yeah, I'm a grandma. But anyway,
okay.
You had a bald-headed man and a grandma, and then a bald-headed man and Kim.
Okay.
So they had to dance off.
Ooh, okay. That'd be fun.
Oh, it was
That'd
a
be
dance
fun.
off. Oh, I'm sitting there. I'm like, Kim is jamming. I mean, she getting down
Where
to the
did she
nitty
get these
gritty.
moves from? I'm
right?
sure you were thinking.
And so it was all over. Kim and them won.
Nice. Congrats.
right,
Okay.
right. And then all doing the cruise, everybody was calling her dancing grandma.
Oh. Well, how did she take to it?
She
your title,
had
sis?
fun,
Where
you know.
your title, yeah.
She had fun, and
Nice.
that's what it was all about, having fun.
That's what's up. I'm glad you all enjoyed, man.
Well, she
deserved.
told me, she said, "You're gonna get your partner a T-shirt," and so I thought about that, Ball. Like, why do marry people that ain't in the LGBTQ community
Yes.
are called husband and wife and been partners? I'm like, I'm not Ballin's partner. Amber's Ballin's partner.
You were overthinking that, but I got you. Yeah. Shouts out to Kim. She was thinking about me, man.
Yeah.
Where's my shirt?
So I said, Ballin want no cheap $9.99 shirt off of this ship.
It's the memories.
It costs really $20, but it's
We
only
know.
worth $6.99.
Exactly.
Ballin been on the ship 100 times. She probably got every shirt up here. And so when her birthday come around, we'll get her some,
Okay, that'll
we'll take care of her for that.
That'll work.
Yeah, we won't
That'll
give her a
work.
cheap
I
shirt.
appreciate Kim for just thinking about me, man.
Yeah, she thought
Thinking about
you.
me, brother.
All right.
Appreciate you, man. Again, I'm glad you all enjoyed yourself. You know,
It was so much fun.
Got a chance to see you guys before you jetted off to Miami.
And thank you
spent
for
2
giving
days.
us that
got you.
hospitality. I ain't going to say the name because they need
Yeah,
to
hey,
sponsor us.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Got to take care of my people, man. But
Yeah.
you spent 2 days down in Miami. The first time you went to Miami.
Had a ball.
How
in
was
Miami.
that?
No, it wasn't my first time. It was Kim's first time.
Kim's first time. Okay.
Yeah, we went to Chicago Dolphin game 2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Right before COVID.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I love Miami too.
Humid though.
Oh, humid. Oh.
Oof.
I mean, but we went at a good time of the year. I mean,
Okay.
it rained every day. It rained.
Of
You
course.
look outside your balcony, you just see rain coming out.
Of course.
Yeah. And then it stopped. And then the sun is out.
Mm.
You know, a little sweaty. But we had a ball in Miami.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a ball.
Nice.
We danced on the beach. I mean, we had a ball.
I'm glad you all enjoyed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say you enjoy it without me.
You
but,
coming next time.
I gotta be there, man.
You coming next time.
I gotta be there.
You know, but the thing is, I knew, like, I had to come back because I knew Quan really missed me.
He was asking about you.
Yeah,
a
I
little
know
bit.
it. He really missed me, so I was
Yeah.
like, I got to get back because I know Quan missed me.
Quan thought he was gonna have to fill in long term for you, so that was his worry.
I was hoping.
But I had to go to Employee Relations and check it out. You know?
Man. Quan thought that you got the little pink slip, brother. You know, Quan.
I was ready to get my promotion and everything, man.
He was going to sit in. He was going to sit in my seat.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna sit in your seat, but he was gonna take the mic. Yeah.
Paul, one thing we do is always have great guests. You want to?
We do always have some
Talk
great
about it.
guests. We got another great guest today, but before we get into it,
What?
we definitely want to invite you all to share our live feed. Share. It costs you absolutely nothing. Go to the bottom of your screen, hit the little share button, and you can share it to your page, and you can share it to all your friends. Free 99, man. We appreciate you in advance. We give you 1 hour each and every Wednesday right here on the Gorilla Cross Network, talking about the world of sports, but so much going on in sports. We're going to have all the time in the world to talk about it here on our show. So follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram at No Plays Off Sports Talk, and on Twitter at Plays_off. You can also follow my personal page as well at Miss Ballin D on Twitter. I'm doing a lot of tweeting nowadays, man. I've gotten comfortable with the whole tweeting game. So make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. Of course, we are still looking for our sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, you want to give us some feedback on the show, you got some show ideas, you want some guests you want to invite on the show for us, you can send us an email at noplaysoffsportstalk@gmail.com. Gotta send a huge happy birthday shout out going into my homegirl Courtney Williams of the Connecticut Sun of the WNBA. She's celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Court. And the football game that happened last weekend, the Las Vegas Metro versus Las Vegas Fire.
That was off the chain, huh?
Man, it was a
police
complete
whooped them up, huh?
blowout.
34-0,
Las Vegas Metro smashed Las Vegas Fire. But of course, it was a great cause. It was a good fundraiser for the Children's Heart Foundation. They raised $10,000 that they donated to the Bonanza football program. So kudos going out to everyone that was involved in that.
School?
They played at Bonanza High School.
So they get all that money.
$10,000 they donated. So it was all for a great cause.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now they need to go do it at every school now.
Well, you can start that.
Let me throw out a special shout out.
Yeah.
I see my beautiful mother-in-law online watching. Because we weren't here. We were here, but we didn't have
for
a
Mother's
chance.
Day. Yes.
So happy Mother's Day to my beautiful mother-in-law, Patricia Hyman.
Happy Mother's Day to your queen.
Or late Mother's Day.
Also, real quick, some community events is happening. The basketball counselors, they are presenting a skills training and basketball camp. It's taking place June 10th through the 11th at Losi Charter School. That address is 4065 Losi Road. Girls grades 5 through 9th grade, boys as well, grades 5 through 9. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the girls, 1:30 to 5 p.m. for the boys. If you want some more information, you can contact Coach Darius D.B. Banks, or you can go online to www.somersetlosi.org. That's going to be a fantastic basketball camp. And former NFL football player, Mr. Marlon Greenwood, he is hosting a free football camp. It's July 1st through the 3rd at Cimarron Memorial High School. For more information or to register, it is absolutely free. You can log on to www.mg52.org. Again, www.mg52.org. And our Lady Rebels, they are hosting their Nike Lady Rebels Girls Basketball Camp. Ages 7 to 14 years old. It's taking place June 10th through the 6th. It's going to be over at UNLV. So all you have to do is log on to UNLV Athletics if you want to sign up for the Lady Rebels Basketball Camp. That should be fun with Coach Lindy LaRock. Always exciting.
Yes. Fun
Absolutely.
Person. So and Greenwood too, good guy.
Good, yeah, man. Greenwood. He his foundation. Shouts out to
played for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, his foundation had a big draft night. They had a big party here in town. Not a boy DJ. She actually had a chance to DJ for his foundation. Great event that turned out. So kudos going out to Mr. Greenwood. You ready to get into the show, man?
Yep. Come on, Ballin.
You ready to knock it out, man? I guarantee you, off top, this may not be a relative of mine just yet, but you know.
It's coming.
We're going to welcome to the No Plays All Sports Talk episode number 85. He is a 2-time world medalist as well as a homeboy, kind of extended family of mine. I got a chance to meet with him from an individual we had on our show previously. Miss Kyla Blush, a huge fan she is of this individual, connected me to him, and I've been kind of chasing him down for a while, but I learned why we didn't get a chance to get him earlier. He was preparing for a fight. He recently was in a fight this past weekend on May 6th. So welcome to No Plays All Sports Talk episode 85, Mr. David Evans. What's up, D? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you guys doing?
David, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well.
Good stuff, man.
Me.
Good stuff.
All this vacation talk over here, man, has got me wanting to be on the beach somewhere.
Okay.
Let's go. You book it and we there. So we appreciate you for taking the time to join us on the show. Of course, you are a professional MMA fighter. For those who do not know, that is the UFC world, and that sport. I tell you all the time, Kev. It kind of makes me scared because it's so violent sometimes. And having a chance to see his fight over the weekend, I'm like, every time there was a punch, I'm just like, ouch, ouch, ouch. You know, when you box, you at least have the gloves. They are like bare hands
and bare
in this
foot,
sport. Yes,
and bare elbow and
bare.
I mean, just I'm like straight to the temple. I'm like, oh my God, they just be taking it.
Yeah,
look, I consider
definitely the most purest form of fighting for sure. You know, we wear gloves, but they're
real thin. Yeah,
you know, they're more so meant to protect the person's hands, not the person's face that's getting it. So, yeah, it can be brutal at times.
Brutal and bloody a lot of times. I don't do the whole blood thing. So as soon as the blood comes out, I'm like, oh, change the channel.
And I consider myself tough, right?
The tough guy.
Like I fight anybody, right?
So you think?
But I wouldn't get in there. I would not get in the octagon at all. Not even with the ladies. The ladies are tough.
Oh yeah, they don't play either.
Yeah.
Oh, women, they fight. The women fight different, man. They fight with a passion.
Yeah.
That's like different guys, man. It's just like a passion and just like a primal, like reckless abandonment, man. Like the women, some of the most brutal fights, the bloodiest fights, back and forth fights you see are the women's fights, man.
Yeah.
So, D, you are from Missouri, man. How did that all happen and land you in the world of MMA all the way from Missouri?
So I grew up in St. Louis, moved around St. Louis quite a bit, wrestled in high school. So I guess that would be my introduction. I really started wrestling in like 6th grade.
Okay.
So I started wrestling in 6th grade, wrestled in middle school, wrestled in high school. Then also I started like boxing around like 7th or 8th grade. So as I progressed in my wrestling career, like whenever I had free time, because I wrestled all year round, but whenever I had free time, I was always in the boxing gym. And so like I've been in the boxing gym sparring pros since I was like 13, 14 years old. And then if I wasn't in there, I was either traveling the country doing some wrestling, and then eventually got a scholarship to go wrestle in college. Wrestled in college, and I still loved boxing. Like it literally came to a point to where I was like, man, like, do I want to make a decision? Do I want to continue to like put my all into wrestling and just go to school, get an education and go from there? Or do I really want to think about going pro with boxing? And then a chance encounter with a mentor of mine who's a former UFC world champion just kind of set me on the right path. I linked up with him. It's really through fate, man. We connected, and he was just essentially like, hey, like, you have to train with me. And then I've been in the gym, like, training MMA ever since.
So you currently, right now, you are 5-1-0. Currently, your most recent fight was May 6th, in which you were victorious as well. Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you. I'm still kind of feeling it a little bit. Got a broken finger here, just a couple scrapes, but I'm good. I'm healthy. It was a great performance for a pretty big promotion. It was a great showing, probably one of my best performances to date. So I'm just looking forward to building off of it.
So currently ranked 16th in the featherweight division in Kansas, 146 pounds. Just take us back to that moment preparing for that fight. I know prior to the fight, you had May 6th. You were in the ring February, less than almost 3 months apart. You were right back in it. That's not something that happens too often.
Yeah, and the thing is, back in February, I was coming off of a loss. So it was my first professional loss. Man, I hadn't lost a fight in years. And not only was it my first loss, it was the biggest opportunity I had, in my pro career to date. It's being filmed for Dana White's TV show where he goes around and he scouts some of the best talent. And, Dana White, the president of the UFC, is there watching, looking to sign some of the top guys. And, the hype was around it because the Nelk boys were there, and then the TV show, the film crew. It was an event of all events. Like, if you could draw down a movie script for me to get signed to the UFC, like, it was back in February, and I was in control of that fight, was dominating that fight. And then, just one thing happened, and then I went down and ended up taking my first L. So for me, it was like coming off of that, it's like, it was very much a make or break moment for me. Just not only, what happened, but how it happened, the circumstances around it. And when I got the opportunity, the phone call for the next fight, I just I hopped right on it because I was like, I just got to get this monkey off my back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the whole thing of Dana White being there, because I heard a backstory. You were talking about how you were standing right next to Dana White, and at the point in time, he really didn't know who you were. You want to take us back to that moment and walk us through that, and to know now if that your feelings in regards to him and that moment has changed.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but yeah, I think this was maybe a few months before the fight, or maybe even a few weeks before the fight, actually, now that I think about it. I was in Vegas for an event I think it was at the T-Mobile Arena. One of my teammates was fighting for the card, and I was cornering her. And during the weigh-ins, everybody's kind of walking around in the back getting weighed in. It's like this whole like pre-weigh-in show. It's a big like spectacle. So I'm in the back. I mean, Dana White's there. Look to my left, Joe Rogan's over there. Freaking a bunch of celebrities. Trey the Truth is in the building. There's like the who's who of people were there. And
right.
Then, like, obviously I look back and I see Dana White, and I'm like, man, like, I know my coach is friends with him. They do a TV show together. And I was like, man, maybe I'll go introduce myself. He's going to be seeing me fight in a few weeks. This will be a good way to kind of just keep my name fresh in his mind. And I started to, and then I thought about it, and I was like, nah, I'll be able to do that here in a few weeks, just with my performance alone. And if I truly deserve it, my performance is going to bring me that encounter. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And however, I just, had to keep moving forward, and then, jumped on the next opportunity to prove myself and show myself. And that's what happened last Friday.
So one of your quotes says, all I ever ask is to be judged on the comeback, not the setback. Take us through that moment, man. And do you think the fight that you recently just had, did you think you walked yourself through that moment? Because I'm sure it broke you down mentally. But to have that message or to have that moment to want people to not completely judge you as you're not, the competitor, because as we know, your amateur record was, I mean, you had a lot of fights in the amateur world and, your first loss, but a moment like that on the big stage with the big lights, that could be a mental tear on you. And like you said, it's judge me on my comeback, not necessarily my one defeat.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like I've always been a big proponent of that. Like, just in life in general. Like I've lost before. I've lost in wrestling. I've lost in life. I've lost in relationships, love. I've lost in so many aspects. But I truly believe like it's not what happens to you; it's what you do with it. And I just pretty much carried that, along with me. Coming off of that last loss, like I come to that big opportunity where my dream that I've been working for and I've been sacrificing everything for is like literally like within reach of me, like literally and figuratively speaking. And then that situation happens and then all of a sudden you feel like, dang, like where do I go now? Like I have no direction. I've put so much into this one opportunity and like I just put everything into it. So, I mean, it could be defeating, and I took my time. I processed the loss and I moved forward. And like, honestly, from that point on, like a lot of things started to fall apart for me just in life in general, like my stability in life and what I wanted to do training wise, what my next move, like nothing was going right for me. Like even leading up to that fight, but what I chose to decide and made the decision to just focus on the things that I can control. So I just looked at it and I analyzed and I was like, hey, like this fight for me, like the timing is horrible. Like in the middle of training camp, I moved across the country from Florida, where I've been the last year and a half. I heard you, Kev, mention you were down in Miami. I lived in Port St. Lucie, which is about an hour north, for like the last year and a half. Abruptly had to move, transition my stuff to St. Louis in the middle of training camp. And then while I'm doing that, also trying to get out to Vegas and get as much of a training camp as I can. My coach traveling across the world because he's an analyst for the UFC. So I didn't really have access to him as much as I wanted to. So I really had like every reason not to accept that fight. Still to this day, I had every reason not to. But, once I got the call and I really thought about it, I was like, at this point, like I'm so close to my dream, like I can't afford to pass up any opportunity. So I'm going to focus on what I can control, and that's, getting where I need to be training wise, training when I can. And I just was hoping and praying and have faith that, everything else will fall in place. And it did, and it worked out for me.
So do you regret actually taking on the fight, knowing how it all transpired and, taking the L? Do you kind of regret accepting that?
No, I don't regret it at all. I mean, and granted, I mean, I got the win. I mean, I was talking about when I mentioned everything not working out for me.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
Up until last weekend.
Okay.
Like that's the weird like kind of contrast because when I took the L, everything was good. I was comfortable. I was training regularly, had a regimen. Like everything was good for me. Like that moment was literally handed to me on a platter in so many different ways. And it didn't work out. But then you have the contrast of like these last couple months for me have been like extremely hectic, just trying to figure out life and get everything going. And then like literally I was on the drive home from Milwaukee and I'm talking to one of the guys who cornered me. And I'm like, man, like I'm watching the highlights from the fight. And they're like, man, your boxing was like clean. And I'm like, yo, like I haven't worked like pads or hit mitts with a boxing coach since a week before my last fight.
Wow.
And I just went out there and had the best striking performance that I ever had in my life. And I'm like, man, that's just crazy. But, I really, really am a proponent of just always being ready. That whole, stay ready so you don't have to get ready and just not stressing out and just keep moving forward. And that's what I've been doing the last couple months. And I think it all kind of showed for me there come Friday. I mean, I was stressed out in life, but when I got in the cage, there was nothing that could really faze me because everything that I've been through up to that point.
Dope. Again, congratulations on it. Yeah, I was talking to Kyla when it happened, and there was a highlight that came across, and I was like, "Oh, ouch!" It was it was going down. I mean, a great fight you had. And I was like, when I saw the hit, I was like, ow. And she was like, she was so proud of you because she knows the backstory and she knows the struggle that, you've been going through and, know the conversation about you beyond, the ring or the octagon or whatever it's called. Is it the octagon or octank?
The octagon. I mean, more simply, they're just the cage. Right?
Okay.
Just
the cage. Yeah. So she was just so excited for you. So, and just to know that and to see, the fact that you were able to overcome that adversity, you could have folded and, could have went into a very dark place, but to feel like you had to get back in it. And like I said, less than 3 months of taking an L to get back into it and say, oh no, I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to build myself up. That had to do something for your confidence to get the win, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And I think it definitely motivated me, man. Because even after I took that first loss, man, nowadays social media and everything, man. People reaching out to me, and I just got some of the craziest messages, man, of people just like finally hating on me, like they just been waiting for me to flip up. So, once I got the opportunity to kind of right that wrong last week, I definitely took advantage of it. So I must say all of my DMs and everything have been supportive, even from some people who would send me some weird messages after my loss. They're like, dang, that was like one of the best performances that I've seen. But I don't really get too caught up in all of that. I don't really focus on what everybody's saying or the talk and all that. I just get in there and I do what I need to do, and I focus on myself and the task at hand. So
Sir, Mr. David.
Mr. Sir David.
Help out some young bucks that want to get in the game. Because you've been in the game for a while, with wrestling and boxing and MMA. Which route is easier to go? Is it boxing or MMA? It seems like there's so many MMA fighters now that it'll be harder to get into MMA.
So I would definitely say it's probably a little bit easier to get into boxing and be successful and make a living in boxing right now. Mm-hmm. Just with climate and everything right now, I think boxing would probably be the easiest route. It's bad on your brain. I mean, you're taking a lot of hits to the head, but MMA is just it's grueling, man. And like until you really get to a point to where you're that top 1% or top, that top name, it's going to be a struggle. And then there's so many aspects that you have to learn. Like in MMA, you can't just be a boxer, or you can't just be a wrestler, you can't just know jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Like it encompasses so many styles and so many martial arts and so many different techniques. Like it takes a lifetime to learn all those. And if you have a hole in your game, like people are going to exploit that.
So we got a chance to pull up a video clip of, I believe this was your first match. If not, correct us if we're wrong. Just we're gonna take a quick peek out of it, and then afterwards you have you walk us through the moment of the triangle choke that kind of got you the victory real quick.
Even pressure in.
You gotta love technology, huh? All right, here we go.
Punk would have tapped by now.
When he stood up.
David Evans keeping pressure in half guard.
All right, so right now I'm doing what I'm pretty much known for, my wrestling.
But just
control.
keeping the constant pressure on him.
This guy,
looking at a potential arm triangle here out of Evans, locking it up. Now he needs to pop his hips through. Switch over to the other
So essentially all I'm trying to do is one, control him and keep him grounded so I can set up this choke here that you're about to see, the head and arm choke. Probably at this point right there, I knew it was over, and it's just a matter of just squeezing and finishing it. At this point, he's either going to tap or he's going to go to sleep.
Night.
So he was smart and he tapped him. Yeah.
Yeah, so the arm triangle in that moment got you the tap out. Is that kind of a signature thing for you, or were you that just was the move in the moment for you?
You know what? I'm really big about like not necessarily being married to like an outcome. Like obviously, as a fighter, there's just like in life in general, right? We all have our strengths. We all kind of have things we're not, so much as strong at. But for me, I don't really try to fit myself into a box. I never really have in life, and I really don't when it comes to MMA. Like I'm just all about taking the path of least resistance.
Mm.
So that would have definitely been a in the moment thing, like as I'm feeling and getting my hands on this person and kind of feeling his reactions, and I felt that there was a weakness or there was a hole there, so I went there. That is a technique though I've used quite a bit, but it's definitely not something I necessarily seek out consistently.
So you talk about someone you've been training with and some influences that have helped you along the way. Mr. Tyron Woodley is a huge influence of yours, and you talk about who kind of pushed you into the right direction. You all kind of have a special bond. You kind of call him your big brother. How influential and how much has in his success that has transferred over to you that has kind of helped you?
Tyron was definitely critical in the beginning of my career. I mean, he got me started. He gave me the resources that I needed to be successful. And then, just spending time with him. And, as I first started, spending time with him and learning the game from him, learning the ropes from him early on was definitely helpful. And a lot of that stuff, I still, use today. So I'm definitely appreciative of, what he did for me in the beginning. And I've taken that and I'm taking it and I've made it my own and just been leveling up ever since.
So what's next for you? Is anyone on the radar that you want to get back in the ring with? Are you kind of taking a break, trying to settle down, let the dust settle? You're still taking the wind in. What's next for you?
I'm still kind of letting the dust settle. Fight wise, I'm not particularly like in a rush to get back in there. I have some other opportunities that have come across the table and I want to kind of look into. I'm always training and I'm always prepared though. So when the opportunity does present itself, or I do see a fight that I'm like, hey, maybe I should just hop on this one, I'll be ready. But right now I'm just kind of letting the dust settle. Like I said, I just moved, so I'm settling back home in St. Louis for a little bit, and then I'm actually going to be transitioning out to Vegas. So
Okay,
I'll be
welcome
out
to
here
Vegas.
for good. Yeah, hey, I'll be bouncing back and forth from Vegas to St. Louis a lot, but right now I have some other opportunities on the horizon, and I just want to look and see how things are going to pan out and line up for me timing wise. So, outside of the fighting, I do acting, I've done some modeling, I got my hands in a few other pots. So I just want to entertain some of those opportunities that, a few of them are like, man, I'd be crazy to pass up on this.
Yeah, I saw some of your modeling photos, and I was like, "Oh, great eye candy for sure." Was one that was one of my questions I was going to ask you if full time modeling was something that you thought about possibly getting into.
What's funny? I don't consider myself a model. Like I've been published in a few magazines. I've had a couple opportunities to work with like some brands and stuff like that, but it was always like random. And actually a few weeks before the fight, as I was in the midst of moving from Florida to St. Louis, I stopped over in Nashville, caught a flight over to Kansas City because I had a commitment there in Kansas City for Kansas City Fashion Week. And after, going to that event, meeting and connecting with people, like I never would have ever thought I'd see myself walking on a runway. Like I'm 5'8", like 170, like that's not what you think when you think of like a runway model. But, after connecting with some people and some heads at the event, like I was just randomly asked to do some things. And then another opportunity came. And then I ended up meeting Elliot Carlisle, who's like one of the heads at New York Fashion Week. And, he wants to represent me as an agent, and we're going to be working together. So it looks like those opportunities are going to come, a lot here. So, I mean, I don't know.
It's definitely the six pack, I'm sure, that draws the attention. Yeah, I'm sure that helps out a lot.
I don't know if I got it right now. I've been eating terrible the last couple of days, but like I just believe right now in just constantly putting myself in positions to win, whether it's the acting, whether it's the modeling. The training thing I've got down. I've been traveling the world training since I was 11, 12 years old. Like, that's such a part of my life. It's the crux of my life. So that's never, ever deterred. My social life will probably take a hit because I'm all over the place. You know, no one knows where to find me. I'm here in St. Louis today. I'll probably be in Florida in a couple of days. You know, you
That's
just
a good
never
thing.
know where I can be. If I'm moving, it's because there's an opportunity there and I'm capitalizing on it.
As you should, as you should. So let's just talk about inspiring the next generation. I saw a video of you and your nephew, and you were preparing him for a bout, and taking his shoes and his laces off. And I'm sure you can take a moment in your mind when someone was at that for you. And how important is it for you to be an inspiration to the next generations of MMA fighters or actors or broadcasters? I know you've dipped in the broadcasting world as well.
Yeah, man, I think I've come to learn that that's the most important thing. Like it's always been on my list of priorities just because of the person I am. But, unfortunately, I didn't really grow up with a role model or anyone that, is telling me what to do or how to go about life. I did a lot of self-learning. Fortunately, when it came to like sport, I came across the right people, that kind of, influenced me and pointed me in the direction. But just being able for my nieces and nephews, I think we got I have like 7 or 8 now. I have a new nephew. He's like maybe 4 weeks old.
Aww.
And I have another niece like maybe 6 to 8 weeks old. And so I'm just moving back, getting to meet them. But just being an uncle, man, and just being able to influence them and be that person that I didn't really necessarily have growing up is man, really, really profound for me, And I had a moment after my loss in Kansas City, I'm walking out of the cage, I just got knocked down, it was a bad loss, man. And I'm walking down the runway, walking to the back, and then I got 20 kids on the ramp, just jumping up, wanting to talk to me. And I'm like, dang, let me sit here and talk to these kids for a little bit. And I'm like, man, from that moment on, it's I really was man, this is the most important thing, because no matter if I win, no matter if I lose, people are always going to remember how you made them feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even in Milwaukee, or where were we at? We were in Oshkosh. It's right outside of Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
But just even at the event, after I win, it's the same thing. And I don't take that lightly. I definitely think I have a responsibility there, being somewhat in the public eye and having this potential, that people say I have. And just, I really believe in just being there and just being, a good example for the youth.
So you said you yourself didn't personally have role models. Did you look up to a boxer like Muhammad Ali or somebody like that to keep you in the game?
Muhammad Ali is the greatest of all time, man. I'm actually wearing a Muhammad Ali shirt. Right?
Wow.
Saw that.
Funny. Yeah, Muhammad Ali was always my favorite human being, man. Just the way he made people feel, the way he cared for people, as an athlete, as someone that spoke up, was an advocate for minorities, and just everything he did, man. I definitely look at him as a role model for what I want to do, with my mission while I'm trying to achieve my goals, most definitely.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, one of my favorite athletes of all time. I mean, and you're right, in everything. When I was a kid, I'm probably about 8 years old, I think. Me and my mother was in the store. It's called AP, grocery store. He picked my mother up, and from that point,
Wow.
I mean, he picked her up right? And from that point, he was my favorite athlete, and
Just being a human being at that point.
That point, he was that nice. And like you said, the kid's going to always remember when you stopped and talked to him. I will always remember that. That's something I would always remember.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I just, if I could accomplish a quarter of what Muhammad Ali did, I think I'd be all right in my career. So.
Speaking of accomplishments, though, I know the wins, we get caught up on, the wins and the losses of, X's and O's on paper. But what do you desire to be your ultimate goal or measure of success for you?
That's a great question. For me, I think it goes back to trying to make like that little kid in me that was maybe not that was missing out on some things, or needed some things, and like if I could fill in the gaps for like other people that I had, I think that's the ultimate measure of success for me. Just being dynamic, being a bit of a renaissance man, being able to touch and impact people on different levels and across different like spaces. Most importantly, is another thing that I'm really kind of passionate about. And I just think ultimately my measure of success would be, other people are going to tell me that. That's not something that I'm going to be like measuring or take a metric for me. The people around me, the people that I've come across, the people who know of me, like if they look at me and they have positive things to say, or they can look at me and be like, hey, this guy helped me here, and just watching him help me figure this out in life, I think ultimately that's would be my truest measure.
You're very, very individual with a lot of compassion, and something that I found interesting about you, and to hear you speak of, wanting to be a satisfaction to other people, putting other people, before your ultimate measure of success, and, being, a positive role model. I found it interesting that This Is Us is one of your favorite series.
Uh,
Yeah, and speaking to you, and knowing what that series is about, I dig it. I mean, you're coming through. You're radiating through that. That is, I can see why.
I'll take that as one of the biggest compliments ever. But yeah, that is definitely one of my favorite shows. I mean, I'm sad it's coming to an end after this season. But like I said, I'm pretty sure we all can relate, being growing up, being blacks, being minorities. Like a lot of the stuff you see in that show, we weren't really allowed to like model, or we weren't really allowed to like see any of that, because this wasn't our experience. So being able to see that is just being awesome. Like having that show, as an example for, there's a positive black family, and it goes beyond race, and then you see the love in the household and all of that. I think that's been helpful for me in a lot of ways. And, I think we need shows like that just as much as we need the action thrillers, the exciting bombs, cars blowing up.
The Housewives.
The Housewives, like, it's all about balance.
Well, how do you balance? You say you do, the modeling thing. I saw you dabbing into broadcasting, and how do you stay balanced and keep yourself on a level, a steady level playing field with everything that you have going on, and not get so caught up?
I have some good people. I have some good people around me that I talk to, and for various reasons, they kind of, I won't say keep me in check, but people that I can have those introspective conversations with. I do some writing. I do a lot of journaling. I like to read. Like, I'm a pretty, outside of like, I would consider fighting work. Acting stuff is work. Modeling work. Like, outside of that, I'm a pretty chill guy, and I just spend time with my family and like the people that, I trust and love the most. So that pretty much balances me out.
And I'm sure that's important. We talk about on this show all the time, Kev, about relationships, and putting yourself around people who have your best interests, being someone who can be at the spotlight and seem like you have everything going for you. Everybody don't want to sit at the table and clap for you and applaud for you. And, you guys, it's very important that you have those type of people, like you said, to put you in check, or to bring you back, to say, hey, you're doing a little too much, come back down. But I think it's important that, we all have those individuals who can keep us level-headed.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's always like, I'm not the type of person, I'm very, very low maintenance, like in a relationship, romantically, or just a friendship in general. Like, some of my best friends, like, we'll talk maybe once a month. Some of the most influential people that I look to for like guidance or like mentors, like, they just happen to reach out to me either just at the right time when I'm going through something, or it's not very regular, but like the time and the conversation and the substance we have in the conversations are like so impactful. It's like, I don't need you like every day. So yeah, definitely.
Last question of all is I know one of your videos, man, you had Nipsey Hussle grinding all my life, and you talk about your story and how you've been grinding, and what does that whole thing mean to you, and how does it kind of relate to you that you can pull it all back in, grinding all my life?
It's something that for me it's about like really more so being like present in a roundabout way, right? Because like you said, I've been in it. I've been competing on a national level and international level since I was probably about 14, 15 years old, like constantly away for training camps, whether it was wrestling and then fighting, traveling the world, fighting, meeting people and staying connected. And it's like, oftentimes like you just forget to like just like look up and be like, oh, like stop and stare and look at where you came from or like where you are. And like I'm kind of been having that like a little bit this week. It's like I know what I did last week. I know everything that I've been through, and it's like now I'm sitting here like at home, and I'm like 2 days I've been at home. I'm like, man, I'm not doing anything with my life. Like, what am I gonna do next? And I'm like, no, there's just something about just being able to sit back and be like, yo, like, I did this. Okay, this is where I was at this moment in my life. Now I'm here. Like, appreciate the progress. And then that whole idea of like, man, like, yo, I've been doing this for a long damn time. Like, I've been grinding all my life, right? Like, so it's about, one, just appreciating the struggle, appreciating the grind, being present, and just knowing, where I begin and like where I'm at now. And then also kind of facilitating everything and trying to figure out where I'm going to go next. Because it doesn't stop. I'm going to, whether I lost a fight last weekend, like the world's going to keep going. Sun's going to shine the next day. I got to figure out, what I'm going to do next. And the grind just literally doesn't stop.
It's definitely a marathon and not a sprint for sure. David, we appreciate you for taking the time to hang out with us, talk a little bit about MMA, get to know you outside of the whole ring. And we look forward to the things coming forward to you. I know, whether it be modeling and the eye candy that I zoom in on your page, or you inside the ring asking some questions, or you're inside the ring competing, we're definitely going to be tuned in and following your journey of success.
No, thank you. I appreciate you guys definitely having me on and just supporting me. And hopefully we can come back again and do this all over again.
Oh, absolutely.
I love being on. It was nice to meet you, Kev. Yeah. It was nice to meet you, and I just can't wait to be back.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you come in town, we'll have you on live. Come in the studio.
Oh, bet. Say less. I'm there.
And don't be teaching your new nephew those wrestling moves. Those
triangle chokeholds.
Yeah. Too late.
It's too late. Got him already.
Real quick, David, go ahead and give your social media contacts, how we can stay connected to you and follow you on your social media platforms.
You guys can follow me. I'm on Instagram primarily at Fighting David, Twitter at Fighting David E. Those are my two main social media platforms. So follow me there and see what I got coming up next.
All right. We appreciate you. Stay safe. And we can't wait to have you in the city as a resident of Las Vegas.
All right. See you guys soon.
Best of luck to you.
Yep.
Cool
Ballin,
cat,
real
man.
quick.
Cool guy.
Yeah, real cool.
You got an update on the score, sir?
Ballin, I'm not even talking about basketball.
Okay.
Well, I am. I'm talking about basketball. But when he mentioned his nephew, a trigger, it made this light bulb show up in my...
Ding, ding.
Yeah. A young lady... sister-in-law to you, a friend of mine.
Okay, yeah.
Posted a nice article about your nephew. You want to talk about that?
Shouts out to my nephew, man. My nephew bothers me, man. It's like the son that I never had, man. And from birth on, he was my first nephew.
Don't start crying, Ballin.
Just to see his growth. I mean, he's 14 years old. He'll be 14 this July.
The article said that.
Man,
and he shot up a little bit.
Overnight, it seemed like he called me and he was like, TT. And I'm like, who is this grown man on my damn phone? And it's my nephew, man. And just seeing the young man that he's coming into, man. My brother and his mom, Molly, they're doing a fantastic job with him. And he's coming into his own on the basketball court, man. And him and my brother was having a conversation last night that at this point, he's going into high school. He's going to be in the 9th grade. And it's all gas, no brakes at this point. We've laid the foundation for you. We sent you to the camps. We've supported you. You know, at this point, there's nothing else that we can do. It's all going to have to come from right here, from what
Ballin,
you want out of it.
He's doing good in school. He got good grades.
I couldn't be more proud of this young man.
They wrote that.
Yes.
That.
Shouts out to Bruce of Prep Hoops, man. He's been following my nephew and. You know, talk about, like David said, having the right people around you, man. And I hashtag it all the time, hashtag family business. And it's all about the foundation. And my nephew, man, he's on his way. And I'm going to be the proud auntie right there. So they had a tournament in California over the weekend. And he was one of the youngest individuals there that he got some recognition as being like one of the top wing players that was at the tournament. So kudos going out to my nephew, man. He just got invited to another exclusive basketball camp to go to New Orleans. And it's taken off for him. And I'm extremely proud. I don't know if I can keep up.
Great article.
For sure.
So you're on your way to New Orleans?
I might be. Let's talk some basketball, man. WNBA is here. As you can see, I do have my WNBA
sweet too,
sweater on, man. Of course, the WNBA. Shouts out to NBA TV. They're going to be airing a WNBA documentary. 1 full hour. It's going to be called As We Rise, 25 years of the WNBA, covering the history of the WNBA. It's taking place on Saturday, May 14th at 7 p.m., which is 4 p.m. our time. A 1 hour long documentary featuring more than 30 interviews from some individuals: Lisa Leslie, Ann Myers, Nancy Lieberman, Cheryl Miller, Rebecca Lobo, Cheryl Swoops, and of course Asia Wilson, Candace Parker, Nneka Ogwumike. So market calendars this Saturday, May 14th, 4 p.m. That's going to be a dope.
Yep, I read somewhere this might be Candace's last year.
Candace did come out and put some clues and saying,
she didn't say it, but
there were some teasers that say this may be her last, season playing.
Why don't? What I don't get, if it's going to be, why don't you just put it out there and they do something like they did for like Karl Malone? Every stadium he went in, they kind of gave him a present.
That would be dope. That'd be dope.
Gift.
Maybe she's still undecisive. Maybe she's still on the bubble if she want to do it or not.
And Tom Brady retired for 40 days.
Let's talk about Tom Brady.
Now listen, he never retire. So just put that out there.
Let's talk about Tom Brady.
Let's put it out there that he never retired. He was in a coup along with Sean Payton to go to Miami. And now with the money that he's about to receive, if you want to talk about that.
$57 million more as an analyst than he plays on the field.
But it's way more, because if you think about it, he played how many years in football?
I think he's on year
18, something like that.
Some of that nature.
He getting he getting $375 million for 10 years. See, he made a lot less in football. This is 10 years.
He made $33 million over his playing career. He's gonna make $375 million
in 10 years. See, that's the key.
Over 10 years as a NFL analyst. I got a bone to pick with this whole situation with Tom Brady. I know you're a great football player, and people say that you can read the defenses and offenses. But that doesn't necessarily make you a great analyst.
I was going to ask you that.
And for individuals like myself, who I've been in, the broadcast game going on 24 years now, and I paid my dues. I've started from the bottom. I was an intern. I moved myself up, and to think that you're going to get this handed to you on a silver platter when there's individuals such as myself who's been grinding, who's been, you know what I mean? I think that's a slap in the face to the industry, man. And I know people are going to argue and say, oh, well, he's Tom Brady. Yeah. He's the greatest of all time quarterback, but that doesn't necessarily make you a great analyst.
No. And so I don't know why all of a sudden they thought this. Anyway, he played 22 years.
It was 22. I thought it was 23.
22 years he played. And so far, so you're going to play the 23rd season.
Okay. Gotcha.
But he didn't make that much money playing football. Is he going to make in that 10 years, $375 million?
Break that down.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, Kevin.
$30 million a year.
That's a lot of money, Kevin Ray.
$37 million a year to be on TV for 18 games. If you're doing 18 games,
that doesn't mean that you can speak. It doesn't mean you can articulate. It doesn't mean you can put a sentence together.
He's very smart. He's very smart.
He's very
a
smart on the
businessman.
football field. That doesn't make I'm very smart. You're very smart. There's a lot of people who's very smart. There's some people running for office that I think are cool individuals that's smart, but they cannot speak. Okay. All right. I'm just saying.
I mean, but look, you got Peyton Manning doing it. Look at Drew Brees. They
know
had
Fox.
to
They pay.
They had to take Drew Brees off of being an analyst and put him in the studio.
Yeah.
You know, think about it, because they thought he was going to be that person.
I mean, and best of luck to you, man. I guess I'm just,
Yeah, my $375 million.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
And he should be investigated in the coup that him and Peyton, Sean Payton was in.
Don't bring that up for Kev.
Yeah,
don't bring that up for Kev.
And then they got rid of Flores because of that.
Yeah,
that was all part of the coup.
All a part.
All part of it. And then all of a sudden they get rid of him and start bringing in super players.
Suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, very suspect.
Yeah, that should be an investigation. All three of them should be in it. The owner, Tom Brady, and Peyton, Sean Payton.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I mean,
They should, anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of bags, man, also a hockey her moment, her story moment continues. Do you know this name, Kev? I'm sure may not be too familiar for you, but her name is Michaela Grant Mintez. She is a Canadian hockey player, 23 years old. She just became the highest paid women's hockey player ever.
Have never heard of her.
$80,000 1-year contract she just signed.
$80,000? And that's the highest paid one?
Well, it was usually about $20,000. So she came up.
First of all, I didn't even know there was women hockey. Okay,
Kudos
put that
to
out
her,
there.
man. Kudos,
so she signed to $80,000. I mean, I played hockey for $80,000
for 1 year.
How many games they play?
I think they play 18 games, 13 games.
13 hockey games?
In their season.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Kudos going out to our Las Vegas Aces. They are underway, man. Shouts out to our winners. We gave some tickets away.
I saw that. I was like, Ballin gave away some tickets.
Man.
I saw that.
The new Becky Hammond era is underway. Our Aces, they look good. They had 2 wins under their belt. They beat Phoenix as well as Seattle. Took an L last night. Terrible traveling situations for them. They a 12-hour travel day. They had a long flight delay, and I think they just didn't have their legs. I think they had air legs, and they took a loss.
It happens in sports.
Yeah, they were up in the first half. Second half, they kind of fell apart. They'll be in action on Friday versus Atlanta. They'll be back here at the house on Tuesday versus the Phoenix Mercury. We're going to continue to give some tickets away. So if you want to go see the Aces, make sure you stay tuned into our social media platforms. We'll bless you with a pair of tickets to go check out our Aces. Are you inside the locker room tomorrow, Kevin Ray?
I am inside the locker room. Yes, back on Rise Radio Global Station inside the locker room at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure you share. Please share our live feed. We appreciate you all in advance. We'll catch you next week. And remember, we love you for absolutely free. Peace.
Deuces.